Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold, and I'm pleased to share with you some of the great needs in Southeast Asia and beyond, along with what God is doing to meet those needs. One of the main things that ASAP Ministries does is support nationals who are church planters, teachers, and medical missionaries. When we go to visit them and hear their stories, we often hear about all the people that they reach out to who have all kinds of health and family crises and financial problems too. Our workers sacrifice. They stretch wherever they can to try to help the people in their villages. But these crisis caregivers have their troubles too. Who cares for them when crisis comes their way? We were in the middle of a training in Laos, and I noticed that one of the church planters was having a hard time focusing. I asked Teacher Long what was wrong. "I'm really worried about my little girl." His whole face was clouded up, but he was trying to smile. "She's got diarrhea." In my mind, that wasn't a problem. Give her lots of water, some oral rehydration drink, add some charcoal, it'll be okay in a little while. But Teacher Long went on. "We've lost 2 children to something like this before. My wife, she's not educated, and I'm trying to tell her over the phone what to do. I don't think it's working." Oh my, I had no idea. This man was afraid he would be soon doing another funeral for his 3rd little one. "You've got to go home right away. Don't worry about the rest of the training. And if you need to take her to a good doctor across the border, ASAP will cover it." Teacher Long got in a taxi. It was a full day over bumpy roads. He got his little girl to a doctor, and she is still running around in that Hmong village in Laos. It's such a privilege to be able to help out the ASAP-sponsored national missionaries with their health crises. You see, the ones we sponsor are usually lay people. The missions have their pastors who are paid with tithe, money that comes from the village churches, and also handed down to them from the GC, the division, the union. But there's often not enough money to enter new areas, and that's where we at ASAP come in. We raise the support and help provide training, and new work gets started. The problem is that since these lay people aren't full-salaried, full-benefited workers, they don't have medical insurance. That would be too expensive. So what we do is gather money into a fund and help on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes the costs are small. I was teaching in Cambodia when I realized one of the church planters was missing. She's an excellent worker who has led many to Christ. Her own children are faithful and involved in the work. Where was she? I asked around and found out her 18-year-old daughter was in the hospital with dengue fever. Dengue fever is miserable. You get a bad fever with terrible bone aches. When we lived in Asia, we were always trying to avoid the day mosquitoes that bring it. But there's a dengue fever that's called hemorrhagic dengue fever, in which the body begins to bleed inside. That's very dangerous, and that's what was happening to this young lady. I headed over to visit the mother and daughter at the hospital. The girl didn't feel like talking. She just lay there moaning quietly. Her mother gave me a tired smile. She said, "She's getting better now. The government hospital gave her some medicine." She didn't look better. I glanced around the room. It was bare. Hardwood bed with a thin mat on top. An IV drip just giving her a bit of strength. That was all I saw. "We have to pay for that," said the mother, "and for our own food, but at least the room is free." I talked for a while, prayed for her daughter, and then slipped a few bills into her hand. It would go quite a ways, and we would help with more if needed. I could feel the relief in that weary mother. Soon she'd be back out witnessing, and her daughter would be back in school. Other national missionaries face crises that seem insurmountable. In a recent training in Myanmar, one father was visibly sober the entire 10 days we were there. I'm not sure I saw him smile once. He had a huge debt of around $1,500 hanging over him. His daughter had gotten cerebral encephalitis. That is an extremely dangerous disease that also comes, I believe, from a mosquito bite. He's out in the jungle, starting a church among the hill tribes. There are no hospitals where he is. His only hope for the little girl was across the border into Thailand. He borrowed money and headed out. It took more than he expected, and he had to borrow more. What would you do? How would you put a price on your child's life? But $1,500 is a lot of money for someone who only makes $100 a month. That's 15 months' wages when you need every penny of what you make anyway. Well, once again, we had the privilege of extending a solid hand of help to get him back on his feet. It felt so good to be able to send him towards home with a big step in paying off that debt. We work towards prevention too, of course. Every year we talk about God's special natural remedies and his health plan. They hear lots about nutrition, exercise, self-control, all of it. Remember, many of these are medical missionaries, church planters who use massage and natural treatments to help. They know how to pray, and that's their first treatment for any crisis they face. In fact, I have to tell you about one more story of someone who has such compassion. He's named Coco. He has his own challenges with 2 daughters who have thalassemia and need blood transfusions quite frequently. Just recently, someone dropped off 3 orphans at his doorstep. 3 orphans. There's no one to take them in. I couldn't think of anybody but you who'd care enough to take them in. Now, what's a true Christian going to do? Coco is raising them along with his own. Wouldn't you love to be right there taking care of these workers when they're sick, just like they take care of other people? Wouldn't you love to help them, help their own children? The best way you can do that right now is to go to our gift catalog at asapministries.org. Under the Give column in the Evangelism category, find where it says Provide Medical Aid to a Missionary. Your gift will make a significant difference. I hope you will also like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter so that other people can know too. Compassion is what we all need, and we all need to give it. I'm excited to think how much it matters to Jesus. He said in Mark 9:41, "Whoever gives a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Christ, surely I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward." Let's take good care of our own. Then together, let's reach the world ASAP.